Live for today's edition of NASCAR '07 yet again, as we have another Cup Series race for you on the schedule. We're halfway through the regular season following yesterday afternoon's race, which took place at Dover. Ended up getting a dominating victory, leading the most laps, winning the race, led over half the laps in the race, about 252 to be exact. As far as today goes, we have a little bit longer of an event. Yesterday was 400 miles, 400 laps. The day before was a long race, though, in the Coca-Cola 600 miles, 400 laps. Another long one, 500 miles here at the Pocono Raceway. Of course, this race used to have two 500-mile dates. Now it only has one 400-mile date. So we're going to have a longer race. And we will be starting from the back in this one. No practice, no qualifying, just like I did for the 600 in that long race. And in that 600, I really only got up to the front of the field, led one lap in the race. It scored me with 7, but I think I only led one lap, and it was during green flag pit stops. I stayed out long enough just to lead one, ensured that I got the 5 bonus points. And now here we go. But as far as this race goes, it's going to be harder to try to get bonus points if I don't have the speed because it's such a big racetrack. It'll be interesting to see if we see any cautions in this one. We did have 9 cautions in the Coke 600, but again, this is a much different track. 2.5 miles around the Pocono Raceway. Flat, fast, and long straightaways I think are going to be a killer for us because with this equipment, Bill Davis Racing Dodge on the intermediates, we kind of struggle with the bigger tracks in speed. That's why I finished 5th at Charlotte, and I was really about as high as I ran most of the day, 4th or so. At best in that race. And Texas, I finished 11th. Fontana, early in the season, I won on fuel mileage, but I was running outside the top 20 before a late caution, which put us in that window to try to stretch the fuel tank out. We ended up winning the race that way. We may have to try to win the race that way here today to get win number 11 on the season. Green flag is in the air. We're underway. We got Jimmy Johnson on the pole, it looks like, for this. And trying to get up to speed, and I'm just hoping I nailed this setup on the initial start. I'm also hoping I could at least stay in the draft with some of the cars. I would imagine I'm faster than those at the back of the pack here. But as we work our way through the field, it's going to be interesting to see where exactly I flatline as far as making passes for position without the strategy side of things. So definitely a slow restart gear, and obviously a wide restart here at Pocono, as we always see this initial start being double file as it is. We got a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing through the first couple corners. I'm A-okay with not being in that 3 wide mess, to be completely honest. Big run out of the corner. Getting a draft off of Kyle Petty in the 45 car. Looking like we're going to take the dive off into turn 1. 4 wide here at Pocono in turn 1, lap 2. That was tight. Right in the middle of it. Well, really, we were on the inside of it, but it was still tight down on the bottom. Had to use that curving in turn 1 just to make the corner without having contact. I mean, that's huge, too, when you go to these bigger tracks. You really can't make contact with anybody. Aerodynamics are so huge in these older games. Oh, and there's contact right in front of us. Couple cars against the wall. Matt Kenseth in the 141. That log jammed every line. There were a couple other... Oh, we got another near crash off of turn 3. Tony Stewart and another car gets together. And that's going to jump us up to 20th, but it has broken the pack up immensely. Both instances, one in the middle of turn 3, one off the exit. And Blaney bypasses so much traffic to get up to, it looks like 19th now, inside of Kyle Busch for 18th. But once it gets by Busch, he's not going to have any drafting help down these straightaways because the rest of the field is gone. We do stay green through all that. I'm surprised there was no caution. Blaney 3 wide under J.J. Yaley, Kyle Busch for 18th. Passes are made through turn 3. Had a big run in the draft behind the 18. And once Yaley pulled alongside Kyle Busch, really slowed each other down enough for us to make. But I don't know that we're going to have enough speed to actually just run our way up there. Honestly, handling-wise, it feels fine. I feel like I can really do whatever I want with the car, but if we don't have the pure speed in the thing, there's not really a whole lot else we can do. Wade, Ethan, thanks for tuning in. Obviously, no luck on the camera issues. I don't have it on again today. But Mark merch. I mean, if you count like diecast as merchandise, I do have a couple diecasts of Mark Martin. I only have one of the 124 scale. It's a 2000 Valvoline Ford. But as far as the 164, I remember having a couple of his Hendrick Motorsport 5 car. I think I got his AmeriQuest car. Or CarQuest, not AmeriQuest, sorry. CarQuest, and then I might have another in the 6. I probably have another Valvoline car, too. But as far as shirts and stuff, now, I never really got shirts outside of the, you know, my favorite drivers. Obviously now Ryan Blaney, before Greg Biffle. I do have a Dale Jr. shirt. I doubt it fits me anymore, but I do know I have his... It was when he ran that throwback scheme to his dad in the Summer Daytona race 2010. The Wrangler car, because I always loved that paint scheme. I do have that, but I've had that for so long, I doubt it fits me now. I probably got it within a couple years after that race, so I definitely grew out of it. If I would have gotten it a couple sizes bigger at the time, then that would have been the wise thing to do there. But I did not. We are kind of slowly catching a couple more cars up here at least. Jeff Burton, Scott Riggs. Jimmy Johnson's led every lap so far through the first 5. About to be 6 at the line. I'd imagine he's probably pulling away as much as he can. Obviously, he's not able to draft off of anybody. His car feels very twitchy down the straightaways. Like, I get up off the exit of the corner and I try to get closer to the wall down the straightaways to get the draft off the car in front of me, and I almost hit the wall almost every time. And Blaney underneath Riggs. Burton, you can see their straightaway speed to their advantage. They're able to stay in front of the 22. As they run side by side into the next corner. It allows for Blaney to make the pass on Burton at least. He's alongside Scott Riggs, trying to stay with the 10 car entering turn 3. Because the short chute between turns 2 and 3 is shorter than what it is in 1 and 2, and obviously shorter than the gigantic front straightaway, which is the longest straightaway on any oval in NASCAR, we were able to make more moves on that end of the racetrack because the speeds aren't quite up by the time you get into turn 3 compared to turn 1 and even turn 2. And I'll take 16th. Obviously, we were able to pass so many cars on that second lap because of the multiple stack-ups. I mean, I probably gained 20 positions on that lap alone. Robbie Gordon up in the top 15. He qualified pretty well. Tony Raines is up here, too. I doubt they'll stay here, but they're here for now. Kevin Harvick, Brian Vickers around him. A little 4-car pack. Oh, contact 3 wide into turn 3. Robbie Gordon and Kevin Harvick got together. Trying to draft off of Tony Raines. Raines trying to pull down and make another pass on Harvick. I mean, you know when Raines is able to get a run on, you know, say the 29 car, that's how you know the draft is so strong here. That he was able to pull that off. And in doing so, Blaney almost got by the 29 of Harvick. Had a little contact with him, and Harvick's able to stay on that right rear corner panel into turn 2. I think we actually have something competitive here today, and I'm quite surprised. Oh, contact. I overdrove the entry a little bit as he was coming down. Surprised I didn't hook me or something. Trying to break the draft down here. 52.450, fastest lap of the race still for Blaney. And by breaking that draft, Harvick couldn't really get a run to try to clear Robbie Gordon or get closer to us into that first turn. Stay with Tony Raines. Now I got block Harvick. That was a close one. I thought I could get back in the draft soon enough that Harvick wasn't going to have a chance to get back underneath us, but he definitely got there through turn 2. Getting close to that left rear corner panel yet again. Tried to break the draft on the 29 yet again. It worked the last time we were on this Long Pond straightaway. That time it does not. He just blows by on the outside. He was able to be close enough to the 25 car. Contact, though, between Vickers and Raines. Both of those cars go up the track. Stacked Harvick up behind him. And 3 passes in one corner for Dave Blaney to get to 12. Corbin Butler, Matthew Dordo, Bruno, thanks for tuning in. No, unfortunately, still no camera. I ever have the feeling that it worked the night before because you're so tired the next day? I mean, if I did actually work the day before, I guess, but usually I don't, unless like I'm out doing something and I'm out late that night, you know, potentially, but you know, like for instance today, I feel fine. If it's like the first day off, though, I do tend to have a tendency to maybe sleep in a little bit more that day versus, you know, the next couple of days into the weekend. Well, we got the 12th. A single file line of cars from first basically through 11th. Having a tough time trying to get to Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car. A lot of racing, though, still to go in this one. I'm curious to see how far we can go on fuel at Pocono. We've seen fuel mileage races at Pocono back in the day. I could see that happening again here today if we could go about 40 laps or so. It might be a borderline, you know, 4 to 5 stop race if I had to guess. Ideally, if we could make it 40 laps, that would be great for us. And because this track's so big, if you could stay within a few seconds of the leader, you won't have to worry about going a lap down. Obviously, the cars further back in the pack, when they pit, if they were to short pit, they would lose a lap. But naturally, if we stay green for a long period of time, it's going to be very difficult to see any lap traffic in this race today. Get a couple pit stops in there. You know, we go 70, 80 laps. Field will get spread out enough by then maybe, but that's a long time from now. I mean, you're asking for a couple hundred miles of green flag racing, which obviously isn't impossible. We only had 1 caution at Dover yesterday. It was on lap 11. But then you go the day before that, the Coke 600. We had 2 very long green flag runs, but we still had 9 cautions in a 600-mile race. We have not had a caution-free race yet this season, so from strategy purposes, I would like to lean towards the side of knowing that we're going to have a caution at some point in time in this race. At least one. The longer races, we tend to get at least a couple like this. But at least 1 yellow I'm banking on. Sister had her baby yesterday morning. That's awesome, man. Congrats to her. The rest of the fam, of course. He was joking about the rage thing. I wasn't raging over the Packers game at all. It was a good battle, good game. I don't rage when I watch sports. If anything, like if something happens that I don't like, I usually make fun of it in the situation. But I don't actually rage. I don't have that kind of bone in my body. I'm passionate about sports, but not to that extent. Yeah, I cannot keep up with Truex. I gained in the corners because I'm not carrying as much speed on entry. I can roll the throttle a little bit sooner on exit, but we're still just lacking straightaway speed, and we're pulling the cars behind us. But we're just not quick enough to stay with these guys in front of us. And I'm trying to get up in the draft behind Truex. I faintly have him, and then by the time we get to about the start-finish line, they just pull me. I like I was doing a hand gesture down the straightaway when I was talking when you guys can't see me because the camera's off. Just dawned on me. That's the driver instinct in me. To talk with my hands. Well, we had clean pit stops at Dover all day yesterday, so we're going to definitely need that here. Because we don't have the speed, clearly, as you can see, to just kind of drive up there. We have a decent car. You know, we have a borderline top 10 car, is what it seems like. And honestly, from the handling side of things, I don't really think there's anything I can do to make this thing quicker. I kind of like the car the way it is. Truex can get alongside that car in front of him, which seems to be Michael Waltrip. You know, maybe that's a pathway that we could actually catch him. We're definitely losing time to Johnson. It seems like I'm like a tenth or two slower a lap than the 48. NASCAR better change the playoffs or else. I mean, it does sound like they are going to in some facet, but I would probably urge fans to not be... I don't think there's going to be a ton of changes. And we got trouble, Truex! Wow! Off of turn 3, and a near wreck avoidance for Dave Blaney. He got sideways there. Man, that was a close call. I didn't think I was going to be able to go low enough, soon enough to miss him. But we stay green. I had to stand on the gas. If I would have checked up at all there, I would have clobbered him. I don't think I've ever been that close to almost hitting a wrecking race car. Like, I usually either hit him or I've had close calls, but I'm able to get out of the way. And I'm like, that was close. The problem is with that, too, because I had to jump out of line, and Truex was the next closest car to me, I'm even further away from the draft than what I was before. But we do get a position out of it. We're up to 11th now. Wow. That'll make you poo your pants. That was a major Co-Brown there. I mean, that was close. I wish we could see a live action replay of that. But because there was no caution, we're not going to be able to actually see the replay of that instance. You guys might have to just go back into the stream yourself to see for it. Because that was close. I didn't know which way he was going at first because he slid to the wall, assuming that he was going to kind of keep it up there, and he didn't. And I had to chase it down the track as he was chasing his car down the track. I don't know how he didn't clip me in the right rear. Like, I missed hitting him head on, but then I don't know how he didn't just, like, catch me in the right rear or something on his way down. And I mean, I would have just nailed the outside wall. We almost ended this race 20 laps in. If I would have hit him head on. He was so slow. Do I think the race is going to take 3 hours? It's going to be close. I mean, it depends how many cautions we get. I mean, our 600 took 4 hours, and that was an extra 100 miles. The lap time's obviously slower here because the laps are larger. There's 3 separate turns, so a 500-mile, mile-and-a-half race would be a little quicker than a 500-mile race here. Yeah, it's going to be close. We get more than 2 cautions. It's definitely taking over 3 hours. Have I played NASCAR Heat? I have. We did a bunch of gameplay of Heat 4, Heat 5. Heat 4 was like the initial, like that was the launch of the channel. And then I didn't start doing like live commentary stuff until I did it part-time for the 2022 season. It was mainly just the cup races, but it wasn't every week. And then 23, it was every week, plus Truck Xfinity at times. And then last year, it was like all 3 series, every race, other than the Michigan weekend for the Cup Series, because I went to that race. But we will definitely get back to having more of that. Lagging. I might have had a couple of quick lag spikes there for a couple seconds. That'll happen from time to time. I have as good of internet as I'm going to have where I'm at. You know, there will be a quick 5 to 10 second lag a couple times a stream, but that's pretty much going to be it. So I just got to hope that it never happens on the final lap or something like that. I'm working with what I've got, essentially. Yeah, we're definitely losing time to Johnson. We were about 2.5 seconds off the lead when we initially got to 12th, and now it's about 3.8. Again, about a tenth or two slower a lap. And he doesn't have any drafting help. I mean, it helps that he has cars behind him, you know, maybe getting a little bit of an air push, but that's about it. And honestly, for fuel, we're definitely going to go past 40 laps. We're actually really, really close to being able to make this thing on 3 stops. And we're like 2 laps shy of being able to go 50 laps. We'll probably make it to 47, 48, and then have to pit. So we're definitely going to make it on 4 stops today. Because we're going to have to strategize our way to get some track position. I'm almost quick enough to catch Michael Waltrip, but even he's losing everybody else in front of him. And I see some battles for position going on. I used the restroom before the race. I did, like an hour ago. But I have been drinking a lot of fluids this morning. So that's a... You know, if I have to take one bathroom break a stream, I'm not too worried about it. Especially at these cup races. I mean, if this thing's 3 hours... I mean, it's no different than when I'm doing a live commentary stream. You know, sometimes I got to get up and go to the bathroom. Because I got to stay hydrated through it because I'm talking a lot. Contact the wall off turn 2. I think that's the first time I've scraped the wall in the race. Overcorrected out of the exit of the corner, how close to get to the wall. It was like 4/10 slower than Johnson that lap because of that contact. Yeah, I think the move of the race is definitely going to be that wreck avoidance on Truex a handful of laps ago. That, I mean, how are we going to beat that? Maybe a last lap pass for the win? Like, that's going to be the only way we remotely beat that as the move of the race. I don't know why this thing turns to the right so easily. By the way, I do have my new controller. It came in yesterday after the stream. Luckily, it came in a day early. So obviously, I can tell it's, you know, maybe not pulling to the right as much as it once was, so that's good. You know, because that could have been a factor as to why I was so tight at the beginning of the race the last couple days. But yeah, this one now it's like I try to set the car in the straightaway, and because it's a new controller, the analog stick isn't broken in yet. It's the first time using it. And I got 2 of them, so down the line when I have problems with the one, I'll have another one right there. I'll change it midstream if I need to. I don't need a wireless controller. I sit close enough to my TV. The setup that I have in my bedroom, there's no need for me to have wireless. Like, everything's close to my seat. They probably sell wireless of this specific controller that I have, but I don't want anything else other than these, like, I don't know exactly the pronunciation on it. It's CIPON, so I don't know if it's like Saipon, but it's a PS2 controller, but it's not like a standard PS2 controller. It's compatible for PS2, but the feel of this when I'm doing NASCAR gameplay, I just like this controller the most. Because the standard PS2 controller, I feel like the analog stick, like, it moves way too freely. I can remember when I just bought the standard one when I first got the PS2 to start doing, like, these classic game playthroughs. And yeah, I felt like it was just turning the car way too easily. This, it's more stiff. Oh, Jimmy Johnson just dropped out of the lead. We do have somebody blowing up in turn 3, by the way. Hopefully everybody gets by him unscathed. Oh, we got trouble. I see smoke. No caution here, but there was some major impacts. One car up against the outside wall. And here comes Dave Blaney to gain a bunch of positions on the front stretch. It's Paul Menard who's blowing up. And as he tries to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack, Blaney's going to have to chase his car to just get around him entering turn 1. And now Menard drops off the pace again in turn 1 and tries to make his way back around. Blaney is up to 4. Jimmy Johnson completely pulled away. Newman got to the lead initially. I think Johnson was able to get out of the way. So Jimmy's got a massive lead on the field, but up to 4th for Blaney now. And Menard's going to have to go all the way around the track again. How is that not a caution? There was such a massive crash in turn 3. I've probably seen 4 accidents in this race today, and there has been no caution. And the cautions are on, obviously. I don't mess with the settings in the season, other than the few 50% races I might do throughout the season, but block Jeff Gordon down to the bottom of the racetrack now. He's coming off a 2nd place finish in Dover yesterday. Still has yet to break through to victory lane. Gordon right on the bubble as well for the chase. Gordon looking to the outside. Blaney will give him the top. He just doesn't want to give up the bottom. And that sharper entry getting into turn 2 there. Now that we're up with faster cars, though, it's going to be a really, really hard time just trying to hold them off with no drafting help in front of us. I'm scared to get freight trained, honestly, though, with the draft. Just got to hold on down the straightaways as best as we can. We got better track position than one we once had, so that's good. That stack-up definitely benefited us. Honestly, stack-ups are really the only reason I think I'm in 4th place. Well, obviously, spots gained in 1 lap on lap 2 through turn 3, and then like all the way down to turn 1 when I was passing cars on the front stretch, obviously, as well. I could still be in the back half of the field. The lack of straightaway speed. Things have just worked out well for us. Sadler was down near the grass entering turn 3, trying to find a way underneath this 22 car. A lot of racing to go here. the Pocono Raceway. I think that's Dale Jr. in third place up here. I can't tell who's in second. Try to break the draft a little bit more down the straightaway, see if that helps. So I'm not having to make as aggressive of blocks just to hold my position. Caution. That'll help. We're not quite the lap. Oh, wow. I got a lot of damage. That was from lap 2 when I got into the back of whoever it was. I can't remember. Looks like debris. Ryan Newman. His hood just came off. So that's our first caution of the race. I don't know what to do here. You know, you would think to pit, but we haven't even made it 40 laps yet. Is the window to make it on 4 stops open now is the question. I'm going to pit. I would imagine the rest of the field's going to pit. So for that reason, we're coming in. And we do have the leaders coming in as well. So 4 tires. We're going to top off on fuel. No adjustments to this 22 car. First stop of the day. First caution of the day. And it's for debris for the 12 of Ryan Newman. And it was probably him that got up against the wall after contact with Paul Menard. Had a couple of wild moments already, that's for sure. 2 early Christmas gifts. Bills-Jets game. There you go. Sunday after Christmas and then Madden 25. Perfect football combination of Christmas gifts. I would always get Madden for my birthday because it literally would come out like on my birthday weekend almost every year growing up. And then they started to push the release date back to like late August. But when it was in early August growing up, especially the years I had a PSP, it literally come out like every year on my weekend, the weekend of my birthday. So that was always kind of cool. Lost 3 positions on pit road. Greg Biffle comes out as the leader. Johnson falls to 8th. Green flag back in the air. And Jimmy's had a tough time on restarts. Or I should say losing positions really on pit road. Johnson down in the grass, up across the track, and he crashes into turn 1. We've got trouble. Back-to-back yellows here at Pocono. Whoa, man, he was way down in the grass and took Bobby Labonte up the track with him. What am I supposed to do there? Like, I have to... I mean, he was never going to get underneath us. It wasn't much of an aggressive block. I mean, you can see there was almost a half a car length difference, but he overdrove it. That's for sure. That was a hard hit into the wall for him, too. We don't have the restart gear in it. Already lost 3 spots on pit road. Trying to maintain what we can. Lap 41 restart. Green flag back in the air. Cautions will help us save a little bit of gas. Look at how far ahead they just pull away from me on the restarts. Johnson held his position somehow. He's going to do it again. Oh, he did. No caution for it that time. And he's still right in line behind us. Bobby Labonte got the short end of the stick in that one. I think he clipped him in the left rear. Elliott Sadler gets by Biffle in turn 1 for the lead. Dave Blaney trying to hold on for dear life. He's probably got the fastest car in the field, and Jimmy Johnson right behind him, too. Back-to-back cautions here in the early going of today's Pocono 500. We lost so much time on the restart, though. It's going to be hard for me just to get in close enough to these guys in front of us. The more they battle for position, the better. That will definitely better our chances. This race has had its moments, that's for sure. I didn't think it was possible to get a caution, and then we had back-to-back yellows. Just because we had seen 4 accidents beforehand. I almost wonder if we could keep Jimmy Johnson behind us. Is there a chance that we could catch these cars in front of us because he's the fastest car in the field and give us a little bit of a push down the straightaways? We need these guys to keep running side by side like they are. It looks like Michael Waltrip, Kurt Busch are door to door. At least it looked like they were going to be into turn 2. It's just going to be a tough race to try to get track position. It's the unfortunate reality of this race. We need every position we could get. We didn't lose any spots on the restart, but we're definitely not going to be gaining any on a restart. Really gained a lot in turn 1 specifically. If we didn't lose so much on that front straightaway, we could definitely be closer. Sadler holding on. It's a mess behind him, though. It's like Biffle, Kurt Busch, Michael Waltrip, Matt Kenseth are all up there behind the 38 car. And again, the more they're side by side, the better for Dave Blaney, as he is so close to being able to stay in that draft behind the 55 of Waltrip. He's within a second of the lead still, so that's good. All on the curbing through turn 1. I'm doing what I can. We're so close. So close to being able to get enough draft to stay with them down the straightaways. Help our speed. Pretty good turn 2. We got Kenseth. Sadler fell out of the lead. I think Harvick's out in front now. Just ran our fastest lap, 52.417, so you can tell we had more draft that lap than any other lap prior. They're trying to keep us in it. I mean, they keep battling. Sadler's going to try to go 3 wide up the middle, it looks like, between Waltrip and Kenseth. We'll see how that works into turn 2. Waltrip way up on that outside lane through turn 2. The tunnel turn. And now he crosses over to the inside of Elliott Sadler. They're door to door. .354. Picked up 0.07 of a second from the lap before. I think we were able to keep up in the draft enough down that long front straightaway. Man, 8 laps into the restart it took for us just to catch right back up to these guys. It's about 20 miles here at Pocono. And he's there now. Now we're not going to be going anywhere, following Sadler to the inside of Harvick and Waltrip as the roulette wheel at the front of the field for the battle for the lead continues on. And Blaney is back to 4th where he was at the time of the last caution. .830, fastest lap of the race. Staying in the draft. Going for the lead. Kenseth got alongside Biffle. Did it slow them down enough? Blaney 3 wide to the bottom. Clear. What a move. Oh, big block on Kenseth. Almost turned himself. I almost pulled a Steve Park. Oh, jeez. Slowed the momentum down enough that Biffle was able to get alongside. More contact. Center of turn 2. They're 3 wide again. This time Blaney's the car in the middle. I just want my bonus points. Oh, I'm sorry, Kenson. Good grief. This is a hornet's nest. 3 wide behind us. Little side draft there on Kenseth. It gave us the lead on that lap, I think. I did not lead that lap, but I think it gave it to us. He said I got 5 bonus points. I mean, it looked like the 17's front bumper was out ahead of us. I'm still going to try to pass him to try to get that lap led in again. Just in case, because I didn't actually lead that lap. Now that it's strung out a little bit, though, it might be a little harder to try to make a pass on Kenseth. Turn 3, looking down to the bottom. Trying to get there. It's going to be tough now. That was my opportunity when they got alongside each other. Little side draft. And there goes that straightaway speed that Kenseth's got. It's like he's got another gear. It's like he's got the sequential gear shift, or the H-pattern gearbox well before it existed in the Cup Series. And Blaney is not letting this go. Little bit of leanage. Again on Kenseth. I just want 5 bonus points because I don't know if I'm going to be close to the lead after this. So I know I'm lacking straightaway speed and restart speed. Even if I lose the lead and just have to sit in line behind him, I want to get those bonus points. Just in case. We have to complete the pass in 1 corner. It's the only way I'm going to actually be able to pass Kenseth for the lead. I have to complete the pass in 1 corner. Ugh. I made contact with him like 3 times. Trying to side draft him, and I just lose to... Oh, that was on him that time. That was an aggressive block gone bad there for Kenseth. Look how much time Blaney lost. Now it's to block Harvick to hold on for second. Trying to get that cut in turn 2. Couldn't get all the way to the curb that time. We got underneath him. That's not going to stay. I don't think I'm going to pass him. It's actually a little frustrating. I'm not going to lie. That we're that slow on the straightaways that I can get underneath them in the corners. Oh, that was a great turn 1. Can we clear, though? That's going to be the question. Yep, we're clear. Now we just got to hold them off for 2 corners. Blaney holds Kenseth off for 2 corners. Kenseth drove right in to that left rear corner panel of Dave Blaney's car. Blaney held on to the lead. That really stacked everybody up back behind us. Blaney's going to get his bonus points. And Kenseth falls well out of the top 3. Finally led a lap. Kenseth sailed it off into turn 2. Can't tell if that's Kenseth in third. And the rest of the field back behind him got stacked up, or if that's somebody else. Blaney will try to hold on to the lead as much as he can here. Once I end up losing it to Kevin Harvick, I'm just going to draft behind him now that I got my bonus points. It is Kenseth in third. Harvick looking to the outside. I actually think that somebody can make the pass up there. If they could stay to my right rear on the exit of a corner, I think they're going to be in a position to get around me. Kenseth looking back for second under Harvick. Harvick actually got against the wall off turn 2. Slowed his momentum down quite a bit. And Kenseth is up to second as he's clear out of turn 3. Lap 56 at the line. Here comes the run by the 17 car. Somebody slowed down on the bottom of the racetrack. I think we have an engine failure of some sort. Either that or a car that's just way off the pace. Maybe it's just a car way off the pace. Harvick back alongside Kenseth. They'll be door-to-door into turn 2. Little wiggle getting into turn 2. Oh, contact between those cars. Harvick and Kenseth get together. I'll open the lead back up for the 22 a little more again. I'll tell you what, I haven't seen this many aggressive drivers in one race in a long time. Especially in this game. We are seeing over-aggressive mistakes by everybody but me. This is weird. Harvick, Kenseth getting together for second there. Again, it opens up this lead even more for Dave Blaney. They'll get back to me. Because again, I definitely don't have the fastest car here. I was just going to try to hold on to the lead as much as I could at this point. Just because. I don't know how many laps I'm actually going to lead before I end up losing it. I would have thought I would have lost it by now, honestly. 1.6 seconds. That might only be a few more laps, honestly. Once I get into my draft, that's where they're really going to be able to gain ground. Might be trying to break it a little bit down the straightaways. I wonder if this car that's in front of us here pitted, and that's why they're so far back. Because it does seem like he's pulling me, actually. He might have fresh tires. Like a half a second slower a lap than what I am when I'm in the draft behind somebody for a full lap. You would think this is Daytona or Talladega. Those lap times. Harvick getting closer to this 22 car. Harvick and Biffle will be the first two to catch up. Trying to break the draft down to the bottom of the track again. Harvick actually led that lap. Yeah, Harvick and Biffle are going to tag team Dave Blaney. Blaney falls to third. Try to get Biffle back for P2 here. Catch some draft off of Harvick. Just enough. I may have blocked him up into the wall. Well, we got the lead for almost 10 laps. Way more than I expected to lead for, and Harvick's out in front now, and I'm willing to just kind of draft behind him and not try to get wrecked out, because these guys are super aggressive in this race today. I don't want to be in another pack if I can help it. Draft behind Harvick on the straightaways. Maybe we can actually pull away from Biffle and everybody else. Even if Biffle stays with us, I mean, just pull away from everybody else in the field. We got our 5 bonus points. I'm all right with not trying to lead the most laps today, because I just don't think we even have a car capable of being able to do that. I can't stay in the lead. I might have been able to stay in the lead longer if I didn't go to the bottom of the track. I didn't really think that those two were going to tag team me like that, but they did. Then I luckily was able to get by Biffle the next corner. Otherwise, they might have been able to pull away from me, and I would have had to fall back to the next pack behind us. Just tuning in for the first time, we've had 2 cautions today in the Pocono 500. We have not had a green flag pit stop yet in the race. Our only pit stop was during the first yellow. Then we had a caution that first lap following the restart. Debris yellow for Ryan Newman, and then Jimmy Johnson and Bobby Labonte in turn 1 getting together on the restart have brought out the 2 cautions. Laney was able to lead some laps. It is not easy to pass the race leader here at Pocono. For ourselves, at least. We have seen quite a few lead changes from the rest of the pack, but that's why we're trying to draft away from Harvick. Because I'm so slow down the straightaways. Without draft, I lose time. We kind of saw that the opening run before we caught that first yellow. You know, we were in 11th, 12th place and losing time to the leaders with nobody in front of us, about a 10th or 2 a lap. So just a gradual loss with no drafting help. Why we got out to that 1.6 second lead, and within a handful of laps, Harvick was able to run me down as well. And that was only because Harvick and Kenseth got together battling for second at the time. When we got to the lead because of a restart, I lost time on the restart. They were battling side by side 3 wide long enough. We were able to run them down after about 8 laps. And that last restart was about lap 40. We've gone just over 20 laps so far in this race. Or just below 30. Right around 30 laps for our longest green flag run of the race so far. Oh boy, got a little loose out of turn 3. I can't have that happen. Well, we might lose Harvick now. That's not good. I've got to be so smooth to just stay with him. Good news is he's not going to be drafting off of anybody in front of him. We're close. I need to have a big turn 1 here if I'm going to want to stay with Harvick. Running about a lane lower on the bottom of the racetrack. All right, I think I did what I needed to stay with him. That was close. Slight wobble. Gotta be so diligent with the analog stick here. It's amazing how much time that scrubbed off. I didn't even hit anything. I really didn't even feel like I was super loose either. 51.761, fastest lap of the race for Blaney. This is definitely quicker than just sit in line. Our lap times are so much better. I'm 9/10 of a second quicker a lap just running in the draft behind somebody than what I am by myself. Again, that's like super speedway, and I know this is a 2.5 mile oval, but obviously, you know, last season running as Mark Martin, Pocono, that wasn't a problem. But with Dave Blaney and this equipment, it obviously is a problem. My hands are tied. This is not going this is going to be tough to win. I would say it's more likely we don't win this race. Because, again, you see me getting a run on him in the corners. When I was trying to pass Kenton, I don't know how many laps it took me to actually make the pass, but it was a long time, and it took contact to actually get by him. And it was contact in a right spot that it didn't slow me enough down to lose being side by side entering a corner with him. Picker's definitely going to have to be on it. We cannot lose time to Kevin Harvick. I might have to do tire strategies to try to stay in this thing, honestly. We lose time on pit road, especially with things spaced out on a longer green flag run like this now. I'm never going to get back to him again. Even if we get cautions, because it takes me so long. Even if I can get through the field, and it takes stack-ups to get through the field, too. I can't just hope for that every time. Even if they make a mistake with a two-tire stop, though, I feel like I might still be in danger of losing time. Like, it's... These guys are going to have some clean pit stops here today. You have to hope that when I cycle off a pit road, I have at least somebody behind me, somebody in front of me, someone around me I can draft with. Harvick's definitely one of the quick ones because he was actually one of the cars that was pulling away from me when I was in 11th, 12th place real early in the race. They couldn't go anywhere. We're definitely closing in on this lap car at the tail end of the field. And I'm not sure who that is, but I think they pitted not long after that second restart. For whatever reason. Man, our fastest lap had a 51.6 that last time. So it sounds like Paul Menard, who had blown an engine earlier, caused a stack up in turn 3 as well. So I hit the wall out of turn 1. But Menard is coming back into the race. At least his return to pit road. Maybe he won't be quite back in. Oh, he'll block me. I'm all right with it. For now. Last 10 laps, maybe not, but... Get me into a position like this where I'm in second right behind the leader in the final 10 laps, and I'm going to have to use all 10 laps to try to get by him. You know, I can't wait around until the last couple laps to try to make a pass. Whatever opportunity I get, I got to go for it. Obviously, we're way too early in the race to do that now. I get in front of him, we're going to back up so much to how much slower I am as a lead car to Biffle, you know, or whoever may be in third place now, further back. Quarter of a tank of gas left this point in the run. Being this close behind Kevin Harvick, it's going to be extremely difficult to pit on the same lap as him. So when I come down the next lap, I got to make sure I pit the next lap after Harvick. I mean, I'm holding up well with my tires. I probably could take the gamble of going rights only. I just got to hope that, you know, the rights will last long enough to get through not just the next set of pit stops, but the stops after that. I don't know if they're going to stay in the green long enough on our tire wear indicator, but that's the hope. We definitely made this a 4-stop race from when the first stop was. Saving a little bit more fuel in the draft. You know, maybe I can go 50 laps when I'm in the draft behind somebody else. Giving up enough time that way. All right, so there are some cars that are pitting right now. I hope Harvick lets me know when he's going to pit so I don't run into the back of him in turn 3. Following him this close. That car that's up in front of us is really hoping that we pit before we get to him. A wall scrape out of turn 1 for Blaney. Quite a few cars on pit road currently. Harvick's definitely not pitting this time. He had a wide entry to the corner. Usually they kind of chop the corner off with a low entry. I'm hoping that that's going to be the same here at Pocono. And because I did not practice or qualify before this race, I don't know how much I'm going to have to back it down to make it to pit road. So we're really going to have to hope we make a very clean pit road entry when we do make that stop. Couple of cars a lap down behind us. Some are on the lead lap that have already pitted, some a lap down. Gonna get underneath Harvick there through the gas. Harvick extends it. Long pond straightaway into turn 2. Truex Jr., who is towards the tail end of the lead lap, right in front of the 29 and the 22 as well. You do risk the cars that are on the lead lap that were close enough to the front of the field that if a caution comes out in the middle, a green flag stops, you will be behind them. Obviously, in the next restart, they'll stay out when you have to pit, so we would lose track position that way. So it is a risk staying out of the pits as long as we can here, but I really want to stay with Harvick. So as long as he's willing to stay out, we're going to stay out as well. And I think he is pitting this time because he had that low exit from turn 2. If he pits, we're going to have to make the late dive onto pit road with him. Here he comes. Going to actually get up in front of him and still get to pit road speed. That was perfect. We're going to go right side tires only. I didn't lock the tires up coming into the pits there. Might have actually led another lap at the line, too. It doesn't matter because Harvick's going to lead the most, but... yeah, we're going to go rights only. If we cycle out in front of him, we lead for a few laps before he catches us, and we just try to hold in the draft with him again, but... I'm just scared that if the pit crew makes a mistake, we're going to be way behind him. And we're not going to have any drafting help. So yeah, rights only for Dave Blaney. Watch these cars coming out of the pits. There's no aprons, so I'm just hoping they don't clobber me. Bottom of the racetrack. And we may actually get drafting help with some of these lap cars here. We're going to slide up in front of Michael Waltrip behind Bobby Labonte. These guys have lost a lot of time. This 2-tire stop for Dave Blaney might actually work wonders here. I didn't think I was going to cycle with anybody with the 2... well, these guys might have to pit still. No, they probably don't. So we're still the leader. So our lead over Harvick is 3.1 seconds by taking right sides only. Had a run to the inside of Bobby Labonte there. Still going to cut Waltrip off the exit of turn 1. I'm trying to figure out how these cars that were around right now lost so much time. You know, why are they where they're at on the track? Because... you know, Kevin Harvick and Dave Blaney were quite a ways ahead of the field, but you could see the giant gap in front of the next few cars. I wonder if they were, like, speeding on pit road or something, that they lost this much time. I am a bit confused. I seriously wasn't expecting to cycle with any cars. Stack up on pit road or something? Maybe. Big move by Waltrip. We get underneath Dave Blaney there. He tries to unlap himself. Blaney with the crossover right back around him through turn 3. Trying to get a little push from behind by the 55. He's got the 43 car just in front of him that he's trying to cling on to. This Long Pine straightaway. Yeah, maybe it wasn't good. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just confused that there's other cars around us here. Losing Bobby. Waltrip's obviously losing time to him. Maybe see if Waltrip can get around us here and draft in line behind him. Problem is, he went to the outside in turn one, and I might even get back around him again. Yep. Well, I was really hoping he would kind of get in front of us and stay in front of us. Bathroom break it halfway. I'm good. I'm good right now. The halftime bathroom break. Presented to you by Dodge. Dale Jarrett's a lap down, too. So he's going to be battling Michael Waltrip to be the first car. One lap down. Hoping Michael pulls to the bottom this time. He didn't do it again. Jarrett's running the middle groove. Waltrip's up a little wider. I mean, I'm not going to sit behind Waltrip up there in the draft down the straightaways. I'll lose too much time in the corners if I don't go to the bottom of the track. Dale Jarrett trying to get to the inside of the 55. Older left side tires. Harvick is definitely going to get to us. Plus, again, I'm not as fast down the straightaways anyway. At least I'm getting a little time out in front of the field. The middle going to the race. Jarrett and Waltrip going to get by, but they're side by side into turn one. I think I'm going to clear the 88. Nope. Got Waltrip clear again, but not Dale Jarrett. Maybe we can draft behind Jarrett then. Well, it's going to be harder when Waltrip gets to the inside of us. Harvick is coming. Battling with the 55 and the 88 car. Harvick was able to close in a lot sooner. Waltrip and Jarrett battle at the tail end of the lead lap now. A battle again right in front of us. Jarrett gets tight through turn two. Blaney to the inside of Jarrett through three. Harvick right there. Lincoln Kim Hollingsworth, thanks for tuning in. Harvick looking for the run to the inside, down into turn one. Blaney's so close. Yep, he does clear Dale Jarrett back again. Harvick got to the inside of the 22. 22 going to have to block the bottom to hold on to the lead on Harvick. Stays underneath Jarrett on entry into two. Cleared him back. Again, Harvick gets alongside. Trying to get a little bit of a draft off of Michael Waltrip in the 55 car up ahead. Harvick might have hit the wall there out of turn three. If Harvick gets around us at this point, that's fine. Sit line behind him and draft again like we did earlier. Honestly, if we had not had those lap cars around us, I think I would have lost the lead well before I did. Does this go through the off-season? Yeah, I do this through the off-season. I should be able to finish this season we're currently on before next NASCAR season starts. Because we'll be doing these almost every day. You know, outside of like Christmas coming up, I took some time off during the week of Thanksgiving last week. But yeah, we got this and modified series racing going on right now on the channel for the NASCAR 7 playthrough. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. So lap 90. Michael Waltrip goes a lap down. Same with Dale Jarrett once Harvick got back to the lead. Dave Blaney drafted behind him just as we were before. We can go back in fuel economy mode in case we need to save any. I would imagine it's a 2 pit stop race the rest of the way. We pitted twice already. Should be able to make it with 4 stops, I would assume. With the lap cars, though, it's really hard to tell who exactly is third place. Well, obviously not only who third place is, but you know where exactly they're at. And I think it's best for Blaney and Harvick to just kind of continue to do what we're doing. If we catch a caution, this is really going to foil this strategy, honestly. Because I'm not good on the restarts. We may have to pit under the yellow flag. I lost 3 spots under yellow flag pit stops earlier. We've had 2 cautions so far in the race. Oof. Big mistake there by Blaney off of turn 2. Pulls back in on Harvick through 3. I almost got back into the wall again. Car's a little looser with taking the right sides only. Definitely going to have to change the left side tires when we come to pit road next. There's also a great pit road entry by Blaney as well. I got in front of Harvick right before we hit the commitment line. And obviously did not speed on top of it. Four stops is tough at Pocono. And generally speaking, it is. Honestly, I think the timing of that first caution probably hurt us because we had to pit earlier than expected the first time. But, I mean, it'll be close. We'll probably be around lap 120 when we pit next. And hopefully we are able to save just a little bit of fuel. The car working their way up off of pit road into turn 1 right now. Try to get up to speed. Remember, it is a cycle right in front of Bobby Labonte in the 43 car, who's currently the last car in the lead lap. Just gotta hope every lap car we catch, I could stay with Harvick and get by them. Definitely can't waste too much time. You see Harvick pulling us as he gets in the draft behind Labonte, for instance. Not able to get anywhere near as close to him on that long front straightaway. Going to get to the inside of Harvick. Not going to be able to complete this pass. I wasn't really intending to do so, but not trying to lift as much as possible. So we were 3 wide. Down on that bottom of the racetrack. Slight contact there with Bobby Labonte, going to slow us down a little bit. Really got to pass this 43 car through turn 3. And we are clear. Wow, Elliott Sadler, who was leading laps earlier, is in this group just up ahead of us. Almost looks like Ryan Newman in the 12 car is, too. More of the faster cars we catch and pass and put a lap down, that's better for us. Jeff Green in the 66 car also up here, along with Ryan Newman, who brought out the debris caution. That first yellow of the day when his hood came off. Well, got underneath Harvick. Doubt we're going to be able to clear him. He's going to get a draft off of Ryan Newman in the 12 here. Harvick's still on our outside. I'm actually able to get a little bit of a draft myself off of this 12 car. We might actually get by Harvick for the lead. Been side by side for a little bit now. Clear. Pass for the lead was made. Harvick with a run back to the inside into turn 1. A log jam of lap traffic up here. Harvick was struggling to go anywhere. Same could probably be said here for Dave Blaney. I don't know how we're going to attack this. Harvick down to the bottom. We're just going to have to follow him through. That was going to be my A plan anyway, but trapped him by Stremme. Sorensen down this front straightaway. Gassed it up initially, got 3 wide to the bottom underneath Harvick again. Off of turn 1. We've cleared Sadler. Harvick is up on the outside. He also cleared the 38. We're able to block Sadler all the way through turn 2, all over the back of the 29 of Harvick. So he gets to the inside of Jeff Green in the 66. It's amazing how big these lap cars are getting runs on us, too, down the straightaways. I have to make some blocks just to hold them off. I mean, Sadler's got a fast car, too, so that's probably some of it. Again, he was leading at one point real early in the race. Harvick now underneath Ryan Newman. Big dive down to the bottom by the 29 car. 22 of Blaney follows. And they both have Newman cleared off turn 3. 51.683, that last lap. Fastest lap of the day for Blaney. Ryan Newman in this 12 car trying to stay with the leaders as much as he possibly can. Lap 103. Halfway out of gas this point in the run. Gonna watch the Bills at 4:30. I'm not sure what game I get in my local listing today. I haven't looked at any of that. I'll definitely be watching football after the stream's done. I just don't know what games I get. Packers obviously playing on Thursday night, so I can guarantee you I won't be watching the Packers. It's 2 Sundays in a row, though. That's the only thing that stinks about that. You know, it's not NASCAR season. I would wish they'd played the Thursday night games earlier in the season, but oh well. What am I going to do about it? We're watching my fantasy team try to go for the #1 seed today. I do have Josh Allen as my quarterback, so if I can watch the Bills game, I would definitely like to. .528 that last lap, fastest of the day for Dave Blaney. He continues to drive in line behind Kevin Harvick. Little past the halfway point in this race, as we are a little past the hour-and-a-half point in this race as well. Continuously saving fuel and riding behind Kevin Harvick. The goal on the next stop will be to take left sides only. After taking rights on pit stop number 2, we took 4 on the first stop, but that was under caution. It's all in the effort to try not to lose time, and in the process of that, we gained a little bit of time. We're able to lead some laps. We're still 2 pit stops out from the finish. Might be anticlimactic and not as good at battling as we saw, like we had for the lead earlier when I was trying to lead for the first time. Because I wasn't sure at that point if I'd ever be able to get to the lead. That was before I really had a thought go across my mind, maybe we should try a pit strategy, because initially I was going to just take 4 tires, but I knew that the likelihood of losing Harvick at that point was very high. I didn't know how far back in traffic I was going to potentially fall. And we're not as quick out of the draft. I'm really hoping this race stays green the rest of the way. That's going to be the best thing for Blaney. If we get a caution, we are obviously going to have to pivot our strategy a little bit. I think if a caution were to come out right now, I would probably pit again and try to stretch the final 2 stops as much as I can, because I think I can go about 47, 48 laps on a full run if I really try to stretch it. If I save fuel like I am right now, running in the draft behind somebody else, letting out the gas more in the corners, not using as much brake, and then using the draft down the straightaways to keep up with them like I'm doing with Harvick currently. Make it 47, 48 laps. We should make this on 2 stops. From right now, again, if we were to see a caution. Same thing later in the race. We get a caution with about 50 to go or less. I'm definitely pitting and trying to stretch it, and it'll be interesting to see if the rest of the field tries to do the same. Obviously, whenever Harvick pits, we're going to pit as well. That's what I did the last time. He pits right now. I'm pitting right now. We're just going to try to pit at the same time as him. Any yellow since you left? I don't think so. I don't know exactly when you left, but lap 40 was our last restart from our second caution. So if you saw the first 2 yellows, then no. Kind of ran the high side all the way through turn 2. Harvick didn't cut to the bottom. I see some skid marks going up into turn 3, and there was a slight bit of dust or smoke there. Somebody else probably got in the wall recently. Obviously nowhere around us on the track. Next race is Michigan. It's probably going to be very similar to this by way of not having a lot of straightaway speed. Probably going to have to save some gas. Only difference is that race is shorter. It's 400 miles. This is 500. So tomorrow night's race will definitely be a quicker one. Start things off at 6 p.m. Eastern for that stream tomorrow evening. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Tell you what, me and Kevin Harvick are going to be great friends after this. Working beautifully together. Two cars side by side. Had to back up turn 3 a lot more to keep from running in the back of Harvick. He gapped us right off the exit of the corner. He's going to look down to the bottom to try to get around him. So we still just try to stay in the draft with Harvick as he looks to make these passes, the 103 and the 141 car. Leading fantasy football after Thursday's game. Yeah, the one league I'm losing, the league I'm 6 and 7 in, I'm losing that one, but I didn't have anybody play, and he had Goff and Christian Watson. I think he was at 26 points. Then the other league I'm winning because I had Montgomery, Gibbs, and St. Brown on that team against, I think he had the Lions kicker, Bates. He had somebody else play, too. I think. Maybe he had the Lions defense or something. Quarter of a tank of gas left at this point in the run. I don't know if anybody has pitted yet during this current green flag run. All right, so the 151 car a little on the slow side of things after an engine failure. He'll be out on the raceway. Must win to get into the playoffs this week. Yeah, I'm glad I'm already in. I really hope I get that first round bye. I should have the first round bye. I would have to lose and get outscored in points by a lot by one of two other teams to not get a first round bye in the league that I'm 9 and 4 in. I would like to get the #1 seed because that's always the best spot to be. I'd face a weaker opponent in the semifinals of our playoffs after my bye week, but not as much of a necessity as it is just to have the bye. Greg Biffle getting up to speed down on the bottom of the racetrack. Laney Harvick working together on the outer line. So they both stay to the outside. Biffle down on the bottom. Biffle's trying to stay on the lead lap as much as he can help it here after pitting. Don't blame him. You never know if a caution's going to come out. Moved by Blaney initially to the inside. So Harvick got underneath of Greg Biffle. Through turn 2, 3 wide for a brief moment again. And getting a pull off this 107 car. Should be able to hold clear into turn 3. And he's going to pit now, and we've lost our drafting help. We'll lead this lap at least. And Biffle's a lap down also now in the free pass position. Well, I guess I'll just try to stay in control of things then after passing Harvick. We're very close to having to pit anyway. Ooh, almost contact between Harvick and Biffle. I think Harvick getting to the bottom of the track because he's going to pit this time. Assuming he's going to pit, we're going to pit also. Yep, he's pitting. That's what I figured when he tried to fight for the bottom. Locked the tires up a little bit, but did not speed. Gonna have to change the left sides this time. Rights will stay on the car until the next run. Hopefully we didn't hurt him too bad sliding onto pit road. And it's our second to last pit stop of the race. Looks like the front tire changer had a little bit of problems trying to get the left front tire on the car. The new one's a little bit of a hiccup in the pit stop. Again, good reason we took the 2 tires to stay out in front of Harvick as a result of that. Because if we had a mistake, I would fall well behind him, and which is the main reason why I've been on this 2-tire strategy for the last 2 stops now that we did get up to second. I just don't want to lose him. So Tony Raines still has to pit. So he's leading for the first time now, receiving some bonus points. Good for Tony Raines, you know, being on this strategy. And it sounds like he's coming in this time. I don't know if he would have led at the line that last time by, to be completely honest. Maybe he won't get bonus points if he doesn't lead this lap on pit road. It's going to be close. Yeah, he got it. So Tony Raines will get the 5 bonus points. That was an official lead change, and then this will be another one at the line this time by. Not sure of our gap over Kevin Harvick at the moment. We'll know at the start-finish line next time by. Nobody to draft off of, so our lap times are going to be very, very slow. And the older right side tires on top of it for Dave Blaney. So once that 29 of Harvick catches up, he will then pass us. We go right back into the fuel economy yet again and save the tires. Make it to the final set of pit stops. Go from there. .3 second lead. It's about 3.1 earlier, but the difference here was having that mistake on pit road. It probably cost us a little under a second of time, but it still cost us a little bit. Plus, I don't have any lap cars I can draft off of like I did earlier either. Ryan Berwick, thanks for tuning in, by the way. I didn't shout you out, I don't believe. Sorry for that. I don't know how long you were in the chat for. Well, we've gone over 80 laps under this green flag run through 2 full fuel runs as well. And I think it could be a fuel mileage race for everybody but Dave Blaney. They're only able to go about 40 laps. I'm running Harvick. That's another reason to run behind him for when I do, because we are saving so much more gas. I think we could stretch that final run if we need to. It's about a half a second quicker a lap. All right. I would probably say sometime next lap he's going to be getting by us. Probably lead this time by at the line, then Harvick will be back in the lead at lap 126. It's definitely getting closer. Kept him a little bit through turn 3. Maybe one more lap yet. Half a second still the difference between the 22 and the 29. He appeared to be closer. Big run in the draft behind us there. If I stay in front of him long enough to get to the front straightaway, I'll pull to the bottom of the track. If he gets a run off turn 3, he can pass us there. Make the transfer. To see how patient he's going to be with this. All right. Technically led that lap at the line, but Harvick is going to get through and get to the lead. Down into turn 1 on the outside. Blaney down to the bottom. But still door-to-door off turn 1. Next pit stop should be the last time. Yep. Yeah, whether we get a caution or not, it's definitely going to be the final pit stop. I don't plan on pitting again the rest of the race after that. Oh, got a slow car on the track. Harvick got held up by him just a little bit. Slight contact as Blaney clears Harvick back. There's a 151 car that they were both approaching that's off the pace. Oh, we got another lap let in, I guess. All right, now we stay in line behind Harvick. I like the handling of the car at the left sides only versus the rights only. It feels more planted to the track. It's not as loose, more stiff. It tightened up a bit, but not to the point where it's too slow to stay with Harvick. Yeah, it'll be modified Tuesday through Thursday again. Well, there's a chance I do. Actually, this week in particular, I think I'm going to do Cup because there's some shorter races I'll have that I can actually do during the week. Maybe not all the way through the week, but at least for a couple days. We'll have Infineon Daytona. I just feel like this race is going too perfect for us. We got ourselves into this position to just kind of stay with Harvick, ride in second, pull away from the rest of the field because we're not as fast by ourselves as what we are drafted behind another car with these long straightaways at Pocono. But one caution comes out, that just ruins everything for us. And we've been green for an extremely long time. Longer than I already anticipated we were going to be green for. We have 70 laps to go still. We've been green for about 91 laps. We had 2 cautions in the first 40 laps of the race. And we've got some cars coming to pit road, sounds like. Maybe short pitting. Maybe somebody blew up. Haven't seen that in a while. I think that's what's going to cause the caution, because there's no apron to get out of the way. With the grass pretty much all the way around the track here. With this version of Pocono. I don't know if I'm going to be able to gain in the corners more at Michigan, because we're going to have way more on-throttle time than what we have here at Pocono. More banking. Corners aren't as sharp. So I actually think we may be worse there than what we are here for that reason. Like, I'm able to make up so much time in the corners that I'm able to keep up with Harvick once I'm there. It's the getting to him is the hard part. When we fall behind, if we were to fall behind. But so far, because of the pit strategy side of things, we haven't. Hopefully it stays that way. Well, at least somebody's having fun watching this. I know I'm not, like, actually racing him. But, again, it's just the undetermined nature that if a caution were to come out, it ruins this whole strategy. At the point we're at right now, if we were to see yellow in the next 10 laps, I definitely wouldn't pit. So we'd at least keep our track position that way. But if it comes out any later than that, that's where we could lose it. Because I'd have to end up hitting pit road at some point in the final 47 laps of this race. It's kind of that window. I'm not going to pit unless Harvick pits. So the longer he goes, the safer I'll be on fuel for the final run. That's the game we're playing right now. I got in the back of Harvick there, getting into turn 1 a bit. Catching up to Denny Hamlin, who actually won this race. This was his first career win in real life. 2006 June Pocono. Ended up sweeping Pocono in his rookie season. Harvick going to get underneath Hamlin. Blaney will follow the 29. Still 65 laps to go. Catching the 151. Giving Harvick enough room to go down to the inside of him. There he goes. I was letting him in. I was being patient with him. racing like we're teammates, even though we're not. I don't have a teammate, so this is about as close to a teammate as I'll probably have all season. We're working well together. First race you watched was Pocono, but not this one, I would assume. Unless it was this Pocono. That'd be actually pretty cool if it was. Like, oh, this was the very first race I ever watched. We're replaying it live. This is not anywhere close to how it went. I don't think Harvick and Dave Blaney were dominating. I wonder how Harvick finished in this race, actually. Like, if I pass him for the win at some point, we keep control of this thing like it's going right now, and he finishes second. I wonder if he finished second in this race in real life. All I remember is Denny Hamlin winning. Like, I don't remember anything else about this race. Actually, wasn't this the race that Jeff Gordon crashed hard in the turn 1 wall? What year was it where Gordon crashed hard in turn 1? It was one of the June Pocono races in the 2000s, but I don't remember exactly which one it was. Because I know it was on FX. So it would have had to have been 2006 and before. Because TNT started doing their summer series in 2007. I think it was 07. It was 07? I was thinking it had to have been before that. When did TNT get into NASCAR? I was thinking that was in 2007, so that's why I automatically assumed, because I know the race is on FX. That I know for a fact. The Gordon crash one. We got Dale Jr. blowing up. Bottom of the racetrack. Hopefully everybody misses him. I really hope everybody misses him. We don't need a caution. Harvick was 13th, 27th for Blaney. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Blaney to have a good finish. Move to the inside for Dave Blaney underneath of Harvick through turn 1. It's probably still on the outside. Yeah, there he goes. I didn't realize we didn't even clear Sorensen yet. Now I got to block Sterling Marlin to the bottom of the track entering turn 2. Trying to hold on behind Kevin Harvick. 60 to go this time by. Solomon Lee, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. Never mind, it was 06. Okay. I was guessing a little bit. All right, so that's the only other thing I remember. I remember Hamlin winning, and I remember Gordon crashing viciously in turn 1. Honestly, up to that point, that may have been the hardest crash for Jeff Gordon. Because I feel like through the 90s into the early 2000s, I feel like he never got in big accidents. Maybe he was caught up in a big one at Daytona or Talladega here and there, but he wasn't at the run of like a hard impact in those crashes. That might have been like the first like time Jeff Gordon like crashed super hard. Unfortunately, he would have a few more to come after that. At that Vegas race in, was that 2009? And he flipped at Daytona in the Sprint Unlimited one year. The then called Sprint Unlimited. Obviously now it would be the Clash. Oh boy! That was unexpected there. Big impact for Dave Blaney into the back of Harvick. And whoever that was on the outside, I don't even know who that was. Was that David Stremme that was blowing an engine? We were riding in line behind Harvick, and then all of a sudden... Oh, Yaley just pounded the wall in turn 2 now. Well, we might lose Kevin Harvick. He's side by side with Marlin still. There's quite a bit of damage on the nose of this race car. That was a hard hit into the back of Harvick. There was nowhere to go. I didn't even know anybody was blowing an engine there. Just kind of driving along, and then all of a sudden we almost stopped. No caution for that. We stayed green. And everything was going so good until it wasn't here for Dave Blaney. Keeps battling Marlin. It's going to be good for us. He's not going to pull away as much. But he's definitely quicker. And the nose damage to this car, you wonder how much that could slow us down too. Harvick did pass Marlin through turn 3, and he should be able to pull away from him now. Still a little over 55 to go, about 57 laps left. Vegas wreck was in 08. Alright, I was off a year. I remember it being the Nicorette car. Gordon won in 2007 Pocono. Yeah, he won a lot of races that year. That was statistically one of his best seasons of his career. It was definitely his last great season. Like, he had good years after that here and there, but that was his last great season. I mean, I guess because he made the championship 4 in 2015, you could argue that was his last great season. Just from where he finished in the standing side of things. But he was a legitimate championship contender all year in 07. .151 car slow. Held up Harvick a little bit. Not enough, though, for Dave Blaney to get to him. If Blaney can get to Sterling Marlin and draft behind him, maybe he can eventually get to Harvick. The front bumper / right front fender of this car is in the red on the damage indicator. We haven't hit anything hardly all day, but I hit something hard that time. I can't just sit behind Marlin. I gotta pass him. I'm gonna be way quicker than him. Probably gonna pull away from him. I'll only slow myself up a little more. Well, I didn't even clear Marlin. Maybe we can get him in turn 2 then. Nope, not yet. Maybe turn 3. One of these corners I'll clear him. There we go. .8 of a second off of Harvick currently. About 9/10. It's going to be about a full second by the time we enter turn 1. It's running a wide line through turn 1. If he does that on a repetitive basis, we could eventually catch him. If I could stay within a couple seconds of him going into the green flag pit stops, I think we'll still be okay. I'm really hoping that the right front fender or front bumper or whatever is severely damaged on this car doesn't fall off and cause a debris yellow, because that's going to hurt me. We're not in the fuel window quite yet to make it to the end either. Lose all of our track position, having a pit to put a new piece on it. almost identical lap time to Harvick that last lap, right back to 0.8 of a second off the lead again by the time we entered turn 1. Just as we were the lap before that. Him riding a lot higher through turn 1 is the difference, and where I was actually able to maybe make up just a little bit of lap time that last lap versus him. Because before, that wasn't the case. See, it was a lot easier earlier in the race to see if somebody was going to blow an engine because the field was kind of packed together, so if somebody lost the lead draft, at least we were aware of it. But at that moment, with the field so spread apart, like, you can't just glance at the track map and see that. And, yeah, it's unfortunate. What happened happened. There's going to be maybe a lengthier pit stop to repair that damage, too. But I think taking the 2 tires, if we could stay within a second of him, I think we could still, at the very least, come out with Harvick. We just can't lose him completely. And we are definitely on the brink of that right now. Also hoping that next time we catch the 151 car, however many laps that might be. 1.5 miles. Usually somebody's off the pace like that, it's like 8 to 10 laps. But here it's probably going to be closer to 20. Half a second off the lead. Maybe barely clinging on into the draft behind Harvick. Down the long front straightaway here. 50 laps to go this time by at Pocono. Final 70, or 25%, excuse me, of this race. Who's the points leader? Dave Blaney, that'd be me. I have it scrolling across the top of the screen. Well, we do have the original chase format on this season, so points will get reset after the 26 race cutoff. Finally got to Harvick again. Maybe wasn't able to save quite as much fuel that run, running by myself for a bit, but we did catch him eventually. And with 50 laps remaining in the race, it's back to a 1-2 race at the front of the field. I wonder how much ground third place was able to close in on us with that happening. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly how far ahead we were also. So glad they didn't bring out a caution. It could have been way worse than what it was. Even if I tried to go to the outside track, would have been blocked because Sterling Marlin was up there too. We were boxed in no matter where we were. So 49 laps left here at the Pocono Raceway. Blaney trying to go back-to-back again after a win yesterday at Dover. About to catch the 151 car. Yet again, Harvick looking low, Blaney looking low. They had the same idea. See at least a car pull into pit road. Couple more are down there currently, so that window's opening up. I mean, we're at 46 to go right now. We can go about 47, 48 laps at most on fuel, so if we were to catch a caution, we'd definitely be hitting pit road. Once we do make our pit stop, whether that be under yellow or green, that will be the final stop of the day for ourselves, no matter what. So we are getting very close on to running this race to the very finish. When to pit, I'm going to pit exactly when Harvick pits. That's been our strategy this entire time. So whenever the 29 comes down, we're going to come down as well. Unless the green-white checker finish, this is true. Could also save more depending on how many cautions we get leading up to a potential green-white checker. Tire fall off has been pretty much non-existent almost this whole race. Well, we've gone a long time on these right side tire. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, now the right front's starting to wear. So we're definitely going to have to change the rights again. I think the lefts are going to be fine to the end of the race, though, because we did change lefts the last pit stop. So that's the hope. We're going right sides only on this next stop. We'll be catching the 151 car this lap. I think he might have pitted recently. We're starting to close in on him quite a bit here. Oh, Harvick pitting this time. Well, he's pitting a little earlier than what I would have anticipated. So he pit coming to 43 laps to go. I'm going to run this out a little longer just to be safe. You know, I would assume taking 2 tires anyway. Be okay. I just really need this to stay green. We're going to be back in traffic by a lot. It's the risk of running this long. It's forcing my hand a little bit. And he could cycle out ahead of us by quite a bit also. I would like to think I can give up a couple seconds here, though. It'd still be okay. That's the hope. Don't jinx it. If it happens, it happens. I'm not jinxing anything. I don't believe in that crap. I mean, yeah, we can go quite a bit further on fuel yet, too. $40 laps to go this time by. I would think there's going to be no chance in us catching Kevin Harvick for the most laps led in this race. Well, he didn't lead for a lot early in the day. I still don't think we're going to have any chance of beating him. And you can see at the fresh tires up here, Jeff Burton's pulling me, and he's got a mid-pack car at best, even though he's in the same equipment as Kevin Harvick. 40 to go. I wonder if there's a chance that this is still a fuel mileage race though for other guys, and there's a chance Harvick doesn't make it to the end. I mean, in that case, we sit behind him again and try to force it. I mean, we get down in the final 10 laps, I'm going to have to try to make a pass on him because the opportunities have been very minimal into trying to make a pass and actually stay in front of him. I think I've only passed him like 2 or 3 times today. I've gotten underneath him a lot, but then I can't get the straightaway speed to actually clear when he gets caught behind a lap car. So the timing of that, I'm going to have to make sure it's going to be darn near perfect. .38 to go. Jeff Green in the 66 car now just behind us. He's going to try to get his lap back. I think I'm going to pit this time. I don't want to give up any more time. I mean, Jeff Green's blowing around us right here. Couldn't quite clear into turn 2, but he'll clear me on the front straightaway if I were to stay out another lap. Hope that we can gain enough time back. So on to pit road this time for Dave Blaney. Perfect pit road entry. That was probably the best I've had so far today. And it'll be right side tires only, no adjustments on the 22. We'll have 37 to go. We cycle off of pit road. Need a clean stop. Got to get up to speed quickly. Not sure where Harvick is at on track. There he is. Wow, I mean, I would have stayed out one more lap and he would definitely be out in front of us. So we've got the lead for now. I'm going to try to hold on to this for as long as I can. Just in case there's something of a chance to lead the most laps in this race. Once he gets around me, we'll go back to the fuel saving. He might get around me right here. Got older left side tires. Oh, wow. Big run. Yeah, he's probably going to get me here. Well, that didn't last long. I led one lap. Door to door out of turn one. But the drag race is definitely going to be won by Harvick. All right, well. Right back to where we were. "35 laps to go here at the Pocono Raceway. Blaney back to just sitting behind the 29 of Harvick. 35 laps left. And if it stays green to the end, it will be just these two to duel it out. Try to push the issue. I mean, there's a chance that he could run out of gas before the finish of the race. I'd like to think that it should be plenty good. By my calculations, we should be like 9 to 10 laps to the good on fuel. Waning down the laps. He gave up a lot of ground getting into the corner there. Try to gain it back. No chance I was going to lose the draft there. And now we have 32 laps to go at Pocono. There really isn't hardly any lap traffic for what I see, for what this final run to the checkered could end up being. We have two cars further up the way. That's it. There is nobody else. And quite a gap back to the cars behind these two as well. "31 laps to go. Continuing to mimic the line behind Kevin Harvick, the race leader. I think that might be Kyle Busch in the 5 car. That will be the last car in the lead lap currently. Yep, it is Kyle Busch. Hope is going to be to get by Kyle Busch pretty cleanly. Still stay behind this 29 car. Probably going to catch him turn 1, maybe. Maybe turn 3. Okay, never mind. Turn 3 it is. Harvick was looking low, couldn't get enough of a run on him at that time. And now into the first turn, a little stack up. The 151 car as he pulls right up into Kevin Harvick. Harvick's got to split the middle. Blaney pushes him through. And Harvick is going to pull away from this 22 car just a little bit. Half a second off the lead. We've got some cars hitting pit road, it sounds like. .25 of Brian Vickers. Couple Hendrick cars here towards the tail end of the lead lap. Going to be battling for the free pass position. Harvick on the inside of the 25. Blaney trying to get a draft off the 5 of Kyle Busch. Busch wide. Vickers wide. Blaney going to get by both of them as they're still side by side. So now they really are battling for the free pass spot, and it's Harvick and Blaney back to being nose to tail again. .26 to go. Harvick almost got against the wall off turn 3. Now we have 25 laps remaining here at Pocono. 1/8 of a race remaining. 197 miles per hour. We're rolling out of the gas into turn 1. Yeah, other than the 151 car, I don't know that we're going to catch anybody else lap down wise the rest of the race. I mean, we could see cars pit, I guess, in the final 10 laps, and maybe some of them would cycle around us, but that would be about it. I think the 151 car we're closing in on. Unless that's somebody else up there, but I didn't think we were going to catch the back of the field that quickly. All right, so if it was the 151, I think we would have caught him by now. 21 laps to go here at Pocono Raceway. Maybe the 151 car is the next one in front of him. Because all of a sudden now there's two cars. Thought it was just the one. I'm checking up early this time. I don't want to catch him in a bad spot, lose a bunch of ground. Harvick and Blaney gonna race by him. 20 laps remain here at Pocono. Probably catch the 151 car at least one more time, maybe two. Look towards the bottom of the racetrack. I wasn't really trying to pass him there. And actually almost got clear. And that straightaway power for Harvick pulls him right on by. At the 103 car, another fantasy driver up ahead. Not as off the pace as the 151, of course. Not down a cylinder, but he's well behind the rest of the pack. 51.448 that last lap. Fastest lap of the race for Dave Blaney. So you can tell Harvick is kind of pushing the pace a little bit too on top of this 22 car. Which could be good if Harvick is short on gas to the finish. Harvick hasn't won since the Daytona 500 this season, but he is one of a few different winners, 4 of them to be exact, through the first 13 races. Go figure, another 2.5 mile track here at Pocono, albeit not a restrictor plate racetrack, but the draft has definitely been important all day today. And it's Blaney and Harvick just pulling away. It was Dave Blaney's son, Ryan Blaney. 2017 got his first career win at Pocono. And he had to beat Kevin Harvick that day, hold him off in the final couple laps of the race after passing Kyle Busch at the time. For the eventual race win. Harvick was hard charging. On fresher tires there at the finish. And here is Dave Blaney, equal tires to that of the 29 of Harvick. We're looking to get a win. Well, it would technically be 11 years prior, but later, in real time, into trying to get this done. 41 car, Reed Sorensen. Could be used as a pick for Blaney to try to make this pass with 16 to go. I would think we might, I mean, we don't know that we're going to catch another lap car the rest of the way. Blaney looking low. Trying to get Harvick to overdrive the corner. He does. And up into the wall goes Kevin Harvick. Blaney to the lead. Harvick's got to get back by Sorensen. Oh, contact. Sorensen and Harvick got together out of turn 1 as well. 41 car a little wide. So Dave Blaney in the 22 leads now with 16 to go. I should say equal tires because we did change rights only. Our lefts are older than the 29. But knew that we could use the lap car as a pick to try to get to the lead there. Didn't want to take the gamble. Blocking Harvick. Second half of that front straightaway. We're well ahead of third. I mean, we can definitely battle now, and I don't think we have to worry about another lead lap car catching us. 15 to go. We're not even down to a half a tank of gas left at this point. The run up! Harvick sails Blaney off into the corner. No caution for that. There's quite a bit of damage on the left rear of this 22 car. That was unbelievable. And Harvick back to the lead with 14 to go. I mean, I passed him clean. He did me dirty. He's so far ahead of us now, I don't even know if I'm close enough to get in the draft behind him anymore. It's not going to be easy to try to reel this 29 car back in. Well, we know how he's going to play, I guess. I was not expecting that. Passed him cleanly, used the 41 as a pick to get by. $13 to go. Still leaving a lot of bottom open. Not like he was earlier, but he's leaving it open. 12 laps left at the line. Catching up on this 151 car. Well, if we're catching him now, we'll probably catch him again before the finish of the race. Might not have to wreck Harvick if we could just get underneath him here. Didn't use him as a pick, but there was that slight window of opportunity to make the pass. And as they race for turn 3, Blaney with the advantage on the inside, Harvick on the outside, and Blaney's clear out of turn 3. 11 to go. And we were buddy all day. So he decided to hit my left rear going into turn 2. Ah, I got arrow loose that time. Arrow loose with the 29 car underneath us. Can we cross him over into turn 3? Oh, this is going to be a power move. We can pull this off. Yeah, I'm going to squeeze him too. There was definite contact there. Only for Harvick to get back through to the lead anyway. I don't think there's enough banking in the corner to intimidate him. I mean, he slipped a little bit, I guess. Hamlin line him again. Nine to go. Just not having that straightaway speed to hold him off is the problem here. Harvick hit the curb and bobbled a little bit in turn 1. Drives it so deep. There we go. Not going to be able to complete the pass doing that, though. 8 laps left here at the Pocono Raceway. It's not loose enough. Dive into turn 2. Blaney clear. Out of turn 3. I've been able to clear him in turn 3 a few times. 7 to go. Lap car coming out of the pits down to the bottom of the track. Oh, and he just sailed the 22 up into the wall. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Tempers flare, Pocono. Big back end hit into the wall for the 22. Harvick got into the wall too, but not as hard. Caution flag is out. Damage to be repaired. 6.2 seconds worth here for Dave Blaney. I don't know. For one, what he was thinking. But, man, I self-cleared him one time after he had hit me in turn 2. Wasn't egregious. Kept it off the wall. I don't know how many cars are on the lead lap of those behind it. Probably quite a few. I mean, that's got to be it. That is unbelievable. Only 3 cars on the lead lap had actually stayed out of the pits. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Tony Raines. Everybody else came to pit road. We were able to stay in front of them. There's Harvick. Well, it was his fault. I don't know what to tell you. That was all him. How much damage does this 22 car have? In the draft, can he draft with Casey Kane to get to the leaders? This race ain't over yet. The top 3 stayed out, so they're on older tires compared to the rest of the field. Yeah, I know. I thought we were buddies. Kurt Busch lost the lead on the restart, had it initially. I can't believe Tony Raines is in the top 3 here at Pocono. He was able to stay out of the pits. Jeff Gordon, by the way, who finished second at Dover yesterday, he now leads. Casey Kane, Dave Blaney trying to draft together. Do they have enough time to get through to the front of the field? That last yellow, by the way, our third one of the race. Set up a restart with 5 laps to go. And we'll have 2.5 laps left into turn 2 this time. There's quite a few cars to pass here. And again, this 22 car just doesn't seem to have the straightaway speed today. We should have enough speed to get by Tony Raines at the very least. He's back to 3rd. Kurt Busch is in P2. Might have to follow Casey Kane to get to Tony Raines. That wasn't it. I don't think we're going to have Kane. Oh, we did clear him. Okay. Clear for 4th. Out of turn 3. Got to get the speed back up. I didn't think I was going to have a chance to clear him that time. I'm better in turn 3 than what I give myself credit for. We've got another caution. That might do us in there. We're going to have a restart, but do not fire off well on the restarts. What happened back there? Is that Harvick again? I think he hung himself on somebody's left front, excuse me. I think he was trying to block Biffle, and he turned himself into the wall. What is Harvick doing in this thing? I think that was the nail in the final coffin there. I don't think I could fire off well enough on this restart. Green flag back in the air. 2 laps to go. And it might take 2 laps to get to him. Try to let Casey Kane go so we can draft behind somebody. They're side by side up there for the lead. Kurt Busch going to get underneath the Jeff Gordon. If Tony Raines makes it 3 wide, that could slow him down enough. They're not 3 wide, but they are side by side for second as Blaney drops behind Casey Kane yet again. He's drafting with them down the straightaways here as we are up to speed by this point in time at Pocono. And we will be coming to the white flag. Kurt Busch is out in front. Tony Raines slips through to second. Jeff Gordon is 3rd. And you got Casey Kane 4th. Dave Blaney 5th. Final lap at the Pocono Raceway. No cautions on the last lap. 2 late yellows after a ton of green flag racing up to this point today. Hard charge into turn 1 for Kane and Blaney as they close the gap. Gordon side by side with Tony Raines. for second. Into turn 2. Blaney going to try to get by Casey Kane at this point. Clear. Gordon popped the wall out of turn 2. Tony Raines, does he have anything for the 2 of Kurt Busch? Big dive for Blaney in turn 3 to try for third. Raines is looking low, but I don't think he's going to get there. He's got drafting help, but it's too late. Man, Tony Raines almost upset the field here at Pocono by staying out of the pits, but it's Kurt Busch who gets revenge after DNFing in 2 of the last 3 races to get the win here at the Pocono Raceway. He needed that. He was 17th in points, and he's going to get a big chunk on those bubble guys for the chase. I didn't realize Harvick and I lapped so many cars in the field today. Only 8 cars finished on the lead lap. Harvick led 102. Blaney led for 41. 2 laps led for Kurt Busch. It was the final 2, and he gets the win. That green-white checker restart, great job for him. And Tony Raines, who almost stole the show, finished second. 3 hours, 22 minutes, 17 seconds total time in the race. Margin of victory, only 67 1/1000 of a second. Raines was looking low, just didn't have the straightaway speed to pull Kurt Busch to the line. 32 lead changes, 4 cautions, 148.3 mile per hour average race speed. So, again, Kurt Busch with the win, first of the season. Tony Raines in second. Dave Blaney third. I mean, I really wish it was us and Harvick. We played that strategy perfectly all day. And then right at the finish there, Kevin Harvick tried to wreck us once, didn't. Second time he did wreck us in turn 1, unfortunately. And then I thought I had a chance with Casey Kane. We had, 2 to go, I think? 2 to go entering turn 2. We got back, or in turn 1, I should say, because the wreck happened leading towards turn 1 on the long straightaway. Man, that's tough. I really think we still had a shot off that first restart. Casey Kane was a good working partner there late, and he still got a top 5. He finished 5th. Jeff Gordon in 4th, obviously. I thought he was going to steal the win. He was leading when the last caution came out there with 2 to go, which set up the green-white checker. Greg Biffle led 7 laps, finishing 6th. I mentioned Harvick led 102 laps. He finished 7th in this one. Could have finished guaranteed top 2. Definitely took it to the extreme. He could have beat me straight up clean. Like, that is possible. He was definitely better down the straightaways. That he could have passed me clean if he had waited long enough, but... And he wrecked us both in turn 1, unfortunately. I mean, that's what sucks. Like, he didn't even... Like, he wrecked us, but then he wrecked himself and didn't win either. And then he wrecked himself again after that because he caused the last caution. I don't know who he's trying to block. I don't know if it was Biffle or it was somebody around him he was trying to block, and he basically right-reared himself on the front straightaway. Harvick was all over the place there. Matt Kenseth in 8th. Jeff Green, another surprise top 10 back-to-back for him. He ends up 9th, and Elliott Sadler ends up rounding out the top 10 in 10th here today. Several other drivers were able to lead some laps. Quite a few DNFs. Wow, we had a lot of DNFs today. Paul Menard, Joe Nemechek, Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. He led 33 laps. He probably was the quickest car of any. Qualified on the pole, but DNF'd at lap 75 with an engine failure. Sykes at lap 75, blue motor. Tyson lap 75. We had a lot of them there. Martin Truex Jr., he nearly wrecked earlier, but then he ended up blowing an engine later. Jamie McMurray, blue motor. Clay Brooks, Dale Jr., we saw him blow an engine. We saw David Stremme, P. Harris, Sterling Marlin. That's got to be the most DNFs we have had. Not only, I mean, obviously this season, but maybe ever on the Cup Series, because we usually don't have those fuel glitches like we've had at times in the Truck or Busch Series in full races, where we see like half the field DNF. There was no glitches tonight. That was all legitimate. 14 drivers DNF'd. Junior obviously up in the top 3 in points. It's going to hurt him. Tony Stewart was on the bubble for the chase. Jimmy Johnson was just on the outside. He was in 12th coming in after DNF. Was it yesterday? One of the last 2 days he DNF'd because that's why he's outside the chase now. And Now he's going to drop even further back. We'll take a look at those point standings. 3M Performance 400 at Michigan, my home track, tomorrow. And again, that will be at 6 p.m. Eastern. Dave Blaney with a 300-point lead. Beat Greg Biffle today. Both of them led laps. Dale Jr. still third in points after the DNF, but definitely lost quite a bit. Harvick finishes top 10, led the most laps. He's fifth in points. Jeff Gordon getting a huge top 3. A win would have been even better for him. Sadler rallied to finish top 10. Tony Stewart with a DNF is now 10th in points. Only 6 points out of Jeff Green, who's had back-to-back top 10s. 6 points is the difference for that final chase spot. Still 12 races to go in the regular season. Jimmy Johnson falls another spot back. He's 96 out of the cut. Luckily enough for him, Tony Stewart blew an engine. Otherwise, he'd be over 100 points back. Kurt Busch with the win moves up 2 spots to 15th. Still got an uphill climb. He had DNF 2 of the last 3 races before tonight, but that win, first of the season, puts him in the step in the right direction. Top 5 for Case Caney, 16th. Truex, who had the win in the 600 DNF today, unfortunately, so he lost a few spots and is now back to 19th in points. All right, so 5 different winners on the season, and 2 of them are outside of the chase cutoff. It'll be fun to see how that all shapes up as we get further along the season. Thanks for everybody tuning in here today. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Again, we'll be back to streaming again tomorrow for some NASCAR 07 Cup Series action in Michigan. Hope to see you for that. See you, everybody. Have a